Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really jumping into a big one. A question that's, well, it's causing quite a stir, maybe even some anxiety in the tech world. Is AI going to completely kill coding as a job?
It's a huge question.
Yeah, and you sent us a whole bunch of articles, notes, different perspectives on this exact topic. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack all that material you sent, pull out the really key insights, and hopefully give you a much clearer picture of how software development is changing or might change with AI getting so much better. It really feels like we're on the edge of something significant, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's excitement about what's possible for sure, but also maybe a little nervousness if, writing code is how you make your living.
Absolutely. It cuts right to the core of how we build things, how technology gets made. And what jumps out immediately from all the material you shared is how quickly it kind of dismisses the most extreme version of the question. The idea that AI just wipes out all coding. The sources seem pretty aligned on that. It's highly unlikely. Not anytime soon, anyway. AI isn't about to just replace every single developer overnight.
Yeah, that's not the picture we're getting. What your articles and notes keep showing consistently is AI stepping in more as like a superpowered assistant, a tool for programmers.
Exactly. A co-pilot.
Yeah, less like AI taking the wheel entirely, and more like AI giving the driver, power steering, adaptive cruise control, advanced navigation, all at once. It's presented as this massive augmentation, a force multiplier.
Force multiply, that's a good way to put it.
And the sources gave concrete examples, didn't they? Things AI is already getting good at.
Yeah.
Automating the grunt work, basically.
Yeah, the repetitive stuff. Generating boilerplate code, that standard setup you always have to write.
Right.
Suggesting auto-completions while you type, which speeds things up. Refactoring existing code to make it cleaner or more efficient. Even drafting documentation or test cases.
Stuff that takes time.
A lot of time. And one set of notes specifically mentioned tools like GitHub Copilot.
Yep, saw that too.
It's already showing how much faster developers can be. They can produce working code much more quickly.
And the sources suggested this isn't just about raw speed, is it? It's also about quality.
Potentially, yes. By handling the more tedious bits, the idea is humans have more brain power left for the hard problems, which could lead to better overall code quality, maybe catching bugs or security issues earlier.
Makes sense. Freeing up focus.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just about tools for existing developers. Your material also touched on the rise of low-code and no-code platforms.
Right, which often have AI working behind the scenes.
Yeah, making it possible for people without traditional programming skills to actually build software. That's a big deal for accessibility.
Huge.
So the immediate picture is AI makes coding faster, easier for pros, and opens the door for non-coders to create things.
Okay, but then the sources dig a bit deeper, right? There's a crucial nuance.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting, maybe a bit worrying for some.
While the need for coding itself doesn't vanish, there's a strong signal in the material that we might need significantly fewer humans for what we think of as traditional coding roles today.
Because one AI-assisted developer can do the work of several.
That's the implication. Increased productivity per person means, well, potentially fewer people needed for the same amount of output.
Reminds me of that analogy one of the articles used, the typing analogy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Being a super fast, accurate typist used to be a really valuable skill, right? Specific job almost. Today, typing is still essential, obviously, but the act of perfect typing is less critical because we have spell check, autocorrect, word processors, even voice to text. The value isn't in the physical act of typing anymore.
It shifted.
Exactly. It shifted to the content you're creating, the ideas, the analysis, the complex stuff you're communicating through typing.
And that's the parallel your sources draw for software development. The value is moving away from just the manual act of translating logic into code syntax, the typing part.
Towards the higher level thinking.
Precisely. Understanding the actual complex problem, designing an elegant solution, making smart architectural choices.
And the sources flag those more routine boilerplate coding tasks, especially at the junior level, as the ones most likely to be automated away.
Yeah, that seems to be a recurring theme.
So according to the material, who is still coding in this future, what kind of coding work remains primarily human?
Well, the sources suggest a few key areas. First, building genuinely new, unprecedented systems, things AI hasn't been trained on, where there's no existing pattern to follow.
Okay, true innovation.
Right. Then there's designing the really complex architectural frameworks. How do all the pieces of a massive system fit together and scale? That requires deep human-level understanding.
Makes sense. What else?
Debugging, especially debugging the tricky, unexpected problems that pop up in AI-generated code. AI might write the code, but it doesn't always understand why it's subtly wrong.
Ah, so debugging AI itself becomes a skill.
A crucial one, potentially. Also, performance optimization, squeezing every last drop of speed or efficiency out of critical code. That often needs very specific insights.
And ethics.
Yes, that was mentioned too. Thinking through and addressing the ethical considerations of AI systems, embedding those considerations right into the code, that's inherently a human judgment task.
Okay, so that leads us to a really difficult point that came up in several of your sources, the impact on junior programmers.
Yeah, this was flagged as a major challenge.
They're the ones entering the field, often learning by doing exactly those foundational tasks that AI is getting good at automating.
It creates a potential bottleneck, doesn't it? If the entry-level work is increasingly done by AI, how do you get that first crucial bit of experience? How do you climb the ladder?
That's the worry. The sources pointed to a real risk of those entry-level jobs shrinking, maybe even layoffs in some areas, or just making it much tougher for new grads to get their foot in the door.
It's presented as a legitimate pressing concern for the industry's talent pipeline.
So, okay, if you're in that position, a junior dev, or someone hoping to break into tech, what's the advice? The sources didn't just say, give up, right? It was more about adapting.
Definitely about adapting. The absolute #1 piece of advice echoed across basically all the material was embrace AI. Don't fight it. Meaning become an expert user of these tools. Learn GitHub Copilot, learn Gemini, whatever the current tools are. Get really good at writing prompts that get useful code.
But not just accepting the code blindly.
No, critically important. Learn to review the AI's output. Is it correct? Is it efficient? Is it secure? And maybe most importantly, get good at debugging AI-generated code. Understand where it tends to fail, what its limitations are.
Okay, so become a savvy AI user and critic. What else?
Second big point, double down on the fundamentals. Computer science basics.
Even though AI can write code.
Especially because AI can write code. AI doesn't truly understand why one data structure is better than another for a specific task, or the deep implications of algorithm choices. You need that foundation to effectively guide the AI, to spot its subtle errors, to optimize its output, and to understand the systems it's generating code for.
So your job becomes less about writing every line and more about reading, understanding, critiquing, and maybe refactoring what the AI produces.
Exactly. You're the editor, the architect, the quality control that requires deep understanding.
Got it. What was the third piece of advice?
Shifting focus upwards, towards higher order skills and, interestingly, business sense.
Meaning?
Concentrate on the stuff AI can't easily do. Complex problem solving, critical thinking, system design, how do large systems interact, how do they scale effectively. Become the person who can troubleshoot the really weird, difficult bugs.
The master troubleshooter.
Yeah. And also focus on communication and collaboration. Those are deeply human skills. And understand the business you're in. Why are we building this software in the first place? What problem does it solve for users or the company?
So understanding the why, not just the what or how.
The more you grasp the bigger picture, the more valuable your input becomes beyond just code generation.
Okay, makes sense. And fourth?
Explore adjacent and emerging roles. The sources suggested looking at areas where human expertise is still critical, often roles that manage or enable AI.
Like what?
Things like MLOps, managing machine learning models in production, data engineering, building the pipelines that feed AI the data it needs. AI ethics and governance roles are growing. And foundational tech roles like DevOps and cloud engineering remain crucial for the infrastructure everything runs on.
So branching out slightly, potentially.
Or specializing in the infrastructure around the code. And the final piece of advice, which ties it all together, really.
Let me guess. Keep learning.
Continuously and aggressively. The pace of change here is just incredible. You have to dedicate real time to learning new tech, keeping up with AI, adding skills.
How? What did the sources suggest, practically?
Online courses, getting certifications, building personal side projects just to experiment, contributing to open source. Networking is huge. Talk to people, find out what they're using, find mentors.
And when looking for jobs.
Target companies that seem to view AI as a tool to help their people, not just replace them. Companies that invest in training and upskilling.
Okay, that's a lot of solid advice for navigating the job market shifts. But AI isn't just changing the job, is it? Your material also mentioned it's changing how people learn to code.
Yeah, that was another interesting angle. Tools like Gemini Canvas were mentioned as examples.
How can AI help someone who's just starting out?
Well, imagine having a personalized tutor available 24/7. AI models can explain complex programming concepts instantly, tailored to your specific question.
Better than just Googling an error message?
Potentially much better. You can paste in a confusing error and ask the AI to explain why it's happening in simple terms. That can save hours of frustration. They can also generate code examples for you to look at and understand.
So you can see how something is supposed to work.
Right, for rapid prototyping or just experimenting with ideas, they can create practice problems for you, personalized to what you need to work on. And some can even review your code.
Like a code review from a senior dev.
Kind of, yeah. Giving feedback on efficiency, style, potential mistakes, it's like getting instant feedback.
Okay, that sounds incredibly useful for learning, but there must be caveats, right?
Yes.
You can't just let the AI do all the work.
Absolutely crucial caveats came up in your sources. The #1 rule: always try to solve the problem yourself first. Struggle with it. Don't just immediately ask the AI for the answer and copy-paste.
Why is the struggle important?
Because that's where the real learning happens. Use the AI after you've tried. Use it to check your work, or to explain why your approach was wrong, or to show you alternatives after you've put in the effort.
Got it. Attempt first, then use AI for feedback or explanation.
Exactly. And be specific when you ask the AI for help. Tell it what you tried, what error you got, and this is key. Read every line of code the AI generates. Don't just assume it's perfect.
Understand it.
Understand it, play with it, modify it, see what happens. Keep asking the AI why it did things a certain way.
And trust but verify.
Definitely verify. AI models can hallucinate, they can make stuff up, or generate code that looks right but has subtle flaws or isn't the best way to do things. Your own understanding is still the final check.
Okay, so let's circle back then. The big question. Will AI eliminate the need for coding based on everything we've unpacked from your material?
The consensus answer seems to be a pretty clear no, not in terms of the fundamental need for humans in creating software, but
a huge yes in
Right.
terms of dramatically changing who does the coding, what kind of coding they do, and how they do it.
precisely. The landscape is shifting under our feet.
The future painted by these sources isn't really AI versus humans. It's more like humans plus AI.
Right.
Collaborating to build potentially much more complex, efficient, and innovative systems than we could before.
Right.
So for anyone listening who's in this field or thinking about entering it, the message isn't really fear, it's adapt. Embrace the tools, focus on upskilling, and really hone those uniquely human abilities.
The creativity, the deep problem understanding, the critical thinking, the system design, the empathy for users and business needs, the stuff AI, at least for now, really can't replicate.
Yeah.
Which, leaves us with a final kind of provocative thought that stems from all this material.
Go on.
If the future of creating valuable software really hinges on those uniquely human skills, the creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving, understanding human context skills AI struggles with, well, what does that mean for how we're currently training developers?
Are we focusing on the right thing?
Exactly. Are our education systems, our boot camps, our company training programs emphasizing these durable human skills enough? Or are we still maybe overly focused on teaching the very coding syntax and patterns that AI is getting good at automating? Are we preparing people for the future that these sources describe?
Something to think about. A really important question. Okay, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Join us next time